Everyone, so this is the summary of the poem My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. So these are the important points. This poem is a dramatic monologue written in 1842 and published in Dramatic Lyrics. This poem is based upon Italian Duke of Ferrara, who lived in 16th century, whose wife died in suspicious circumstances after marriage. The speaker of the poem is Duke himself, who tells the messenger about his former wife. The messenger has come from the rich and powerful family of a woman with whom the Duke is going to get married. The messenger has come to negotiate the dowry for marriage. Through this poem, poet reflects the condition of women in Victorian age who didn't have equal rights as men, and they were treated as the personal property of their husbands who exercised their full control upon them. The poem exposes the pride and the cruelty of the Duke, who gave orders to kill his wife because she was very simple and humble woman who would treat everyone with love and respect and would accept their gifts. So this is the text of the poem. That's my last Duchess painting on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that a piece of wonder now. Fra Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. Will it please you sit and look at her? I said Fra Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance. So, when the poem opens, we get to know that the Duke of Ferrara shows the painting of his first wife to a messenger. The messenger has come from the family of a woman whose hand the Duke is seeking in marriage. Duke shows him a painting hung on a wall. The Duke appreciates the skill and the hard work of the painter Fra Pandolf, who has painted such a lifelike painting. The Duke asks the guest to sit and look at the painting carefully. The Duke then tells the guest that he has mentioned the name of the painter deliberately to him because those people who look at the painting get very much impressed with the skill of the painter who has incorporated the lifelike emotions and expressions on the face of the Duchess. And the painter has reflected the deep and passionate look on Duchess' face so beautiful in the painting that the painting looks real and lifelike. But to myself they turned, and seemed as they would ask me if they durst, how such a glance came there. So not the first are you to turn and ask thus. Sir, it was not her husband's presence only, cold that sport of joy into the Duchess' cheek. Perhaps Fra Pandolf chanced to say her mantle lapse over my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half blush that dies along her throat. So in these lines, Duke says that those people who look at this painting, they ask the Duke about the expression on the face of the Duchess because he has pulled the curtain to show them the painting. Only Duke has the right to pull up the curtain to show that painting. And Duke says to the guest that he is not the first person to inquire about the expression on the face of the Duchess in the painting. Other people have also inquired about the same expressions. Next, Duke says that she blushes in the painting not because of her husband's presence. So, this shows that Duke is jealous when his wife smiles and blushes in front of others. So, that shows how controlling and arrogant he is. He says that the blush on her face could be because the painter might have complimented her beauty or would have said that her shawl has covered her wrist too much, or he can't paint the beauty of her faint half blush that fades on her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed. She liked whatever she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. Sir, it was all one, my favourite at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west. So, in these lines, the Duke criticizes his former wife, who could be happy just because somebody showed a little bit courtesy or complimented her politely. So, he feels bad about how easily she could be impressed and happy. In the next lines, he says that the Duchess praised and appreciated everything or everyone she saw, and she had a gentle heart, and she accepted gifts from everyone. Duke was unhappy about that because she didn't differentiate between the gifts she received from her husband and the gifts she received from others. So, all such gifts made her equally happy. She would behave similarly if Duke gave her a gift or a jewelry, or if she saw setting of the sun in the west. So, she would be equally happy. The bow of cherries some officious fool broke in the orchard for her. The white mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech, or blush at least. She thanked man good, but thanked somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900 years old name with anybody's gift. Who would stoop to blame this sort of trifling? So, in these lines, Duke says that his first wife could be happy if she received a branch of cherries from somebody or if she rode on the white mule on the terrace. All these things made her equally happy. And Duke didn't like that kind of behavior. So, she would say kind words to everyone or she would blush at everyone. He also objected the way she thanked everyone for giving trivial gifts to her, and she didn't give importance to his 900-year-old family history. Although Duke never communicated all of his concerns to her, and he kept observing her behavior silently. Then Duke says that he didn't find it worth to stoop so low to talk to her about such trivial matters. Even had you skill in speech which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such an one, and say just this or that in you disgusts me, here you miss or there exceed the mark. And if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wits to yours forsooth and made excuse, even then would be some stooping, and I choose never to stoop. Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whenever I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew, I gave commands, then all smiles stopped together. So, in these lines, Duke says that if he had communicated about his concerns with his wife, then it would have been possible that she would have changed herself and her behavior, or she would have become stubborn to remain the same as she was. But the Duke didn't consider it right to stoop so low to tell her that her behavior disgusted him and when she did little or too much for him. So he didn't want to confront her on these grounds. Then the Duke says that she gave the same smile to him when he passed by her side. Similarly, she smiled at everybody who passed by her side. Next, Duke says that when she behaved like this more and more, then he gave an order and all of her smiles stopped for forever. So, this line reflects that he had given an order to kill her. There she stands, as if alive. Will it please you rise? We will meet the company below then. I repeat, the Count, your master's known munificence, is ample warrant that no just pretence of mine for dowry will be disallowed. Though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. Nay, we will go together down. Sir, notice Neptune, though, taming a seahorse, thought a rarity, which Claus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. So, in these lines, the Duke asks the guest to stand up and meet the rest of the guests downstairs. Okay, and then next he says that the Count, who is the father of his would be bride, is so rich and generous that he is not going to reject any demand of dowry made by the Duke. The Duke also makes it clear that his primary concern is Count's beautiful daughter and not the dowry. When the Duke is coming downstairs with the guest, he shows a statue of god Neptune taming a seahorse, painted by Claus of Innsbruck. So, this statue is made for the Duke specially, and this statue is made of bronze. And this statue reflects the Duke's authority and pride and his desire to control others. And here the poem ends.